All right, and it says that we are live. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I wanted to real quick introduce myself. My name is Sarah. I'm an affiliate with pawTree. I actually live in the state of Maine, and I have brought on two of my friends here, Kristen and Elizabeth, who are both pet sitters. And so we're going to be asking them some really good questions about what they do with their business, how they incorporate, both of their businesses and things of that nature. And so I guess we'll go, like, I'll ask one question and then you both can just answer it, whoever wants to go first. So the first question, I'm just going to ask you to state your name, where you're from, and how long have you been with pawTree?
Okay, me to go first? Okay. My name is Kristen Velastro. I've been with pawTree for 2.5 years, and I am from Monroe Township, New Jersey.
And I'm Elizabeth Rosen. I am in Antelope, California, so it's like in the Sacramento area. And I am actually coming up on my 6-year anniversary with pawTree.
Wow, 6 years. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so Kristen, starting with you, how did you hear about pawTree?
So I had been in a couple of different Facebook groups for pet sitters, and someone had posted like, "How do you guys make some extra money with your businesses? Like, do you offer any extra services, anything like that?" And Kara Brockman, actually, who ended up becoming my sponsor, she had posted something on there about the pawTree opportunity, and I was like, "Huh, I've been looking for something a little extra." To supplement my pet sitting business. And I'm a solo sitter, so I can only do so much, right? You can only bring in so much business by yourself. So I thought, why not take a look at it? So she sent me the information, and believe it or not, I sat on it for about a year. And then they had, a really great enrollment special come up, and I jumped on it about a year later. So I did think about it for almost a year before I jumped in.
Awesome. And what about you, Elizabeth?
So kind of a different story. I am also a pet CPR and first aid instructor through another company. And we had a little retreat thing. And somebody mentioned pawTree. But when I said, "Oh, what's that?" they want to talk about it because they're like, "Oh, we're here for the other things, so we can't talk about other businesses." So I was like, whatever. So I came home and Googled it, of course. And I was already very familiar with the direct sales industry. So when I saw it, and it's kind of funny because I really liked the direct sales model. It made so much sense to me. And I just, the companies that I had got introduced to by other people before, they just weren't a good fit for me. They weren't the right vehicle. So when I saw pawTree, I was kind of like, oh, why didn't I ever look for one? It just never occurred to me to go out and look. So I Googled it, and I'm also a raw feeder with my own pets when I had them. So I saw the ingredients for the treats and some of what was in the other products, and I was very excited. So I contacted the home office and got set up with somebody. So that was my journey.
Wow. Two very different stories,
Yes.
which I love because, not everybody gets into it the same. Okay, so let's see. What has pawTree done for you since you've enrolled, Kristen?
Okay, so interestingly enough, I joined just a couple of months before COVID hit. So during COVID, I actually lost my pet sitting business for about 6 months. I was fully closed, with no other income coming in at all from, pet sitting at all. So I was able to kind of hunker down in those 6 months and, build my business, my pawTree business in those 6 months. And I was able to replace a lot of the income that I had lost during those 6 months. So that was just incredible for me and my family, like to be able to do that and to have something, to fall back on, and something that I've made even, grow even more and more and brought in even more income now. So it's been an absolute blessing for me and my family in that respect.
Yeah. Wow, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
That sounds really tough. Okay, Elizabeth, what about for you? What has pawTree done for you since enrolling?
I mean, there's so much, it's
Yeah.
hard to just say. And, definitely like COVID was huge because for me, pet sitting is a very thriving business. I mean, we all here watching this know the pet industry right now is $103 billion, but even, a few years ago, it was still really big. And so pet sitting sustained me no problem. And so I actually never even spent any of my pawTree money. It was all just going into an account. And so when the pandemic hit and everybody was like losing their marbles, what am I going to do? I was like, oh, I'm just going to start using those checks to pay my mortgage and my bills. Awesome. And so for me, it just kept it all stress free. Like for the first time, I actually learned how to relax and sit still, because Kristen knows, as a pet sitter, you go, 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 you never stop. And, so I actually was like, oh, I could just stop and breathe, and I didn't have to worry. And I really kind of got to, take advantage of a really sad and scary situation. So, but beyond that, I would say the biggest thing for me is like all the personal growth, all the personal development along with business development that it's, offered me. I was already on that path, but I just feel like I'm not even the same person I was when I started pawTree. So for me, that's just a super big deal, is that, who knew that starting a business could change your life in so many ways. And I think personal growth is just a really big part of the direct sales industry. And I am so grateful for it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. If I could just interject too. I never would have thought in a million years that I would be like at our conference at Paw Fest every year. I was a speaker last year. I would have never done that in a million years to get up in front of, a whole huge room full of my peers and do that. I mean, I'm an accountant by trade, so I don't have like this, bubbly outgoing personality and all. So I, more conservative and everything. So that was pretty cool that I was able to do that. And I thank pawTree for that, because I'm pushed way outside my comfort zones, all the time, and constantly learning and constantly developing. And I would have never, found any of that out about myself without pawTree, for sure.
And then just even the connections, like being on here with the three of you, what would be the chance that I would have met you? And, Sarah, we haven't even had an ongoing communication or anything like that. And it's like, oh yeah, hey, I'll do it with you. Just jump on. And again, it's stuff that I would have shied away from before. Now it's like, yeah, Pet Pros, I'll do it. Whatever you need, I'm here. So the community is just, it's part of that growth, I think, too, the friendship and the community. So.
Yeah, it's the best community ever.
This one question could go on for.
It could, really. Exactly. We have like 2 hours.
Yeah, I know. So actually, Elizabeth, you made a really great point about how we need pet sitters. And so, I mean, when COVID hit, obviously that was a disaster on its own. But it's funny that you mentioned that, because I know pet sitters in my area are completely booked. And I was asked by 2 different people probably within the last month. They're like, hey, can you like let my puppy out at noon? Hey, can you like check on my horse every other day? And it's just like super odd stuff. I mean, I'm not like an official pet sitter like you girls are. I'm in, no way, shape, or form a professional, but I'm happy to help a neighbor. I'm happy to help a friend. And so I know. And I'm like, I can't do anything extra right now. I'm busy. But it's really fun, and it's nice to get to know people in your community. And that's really how I've met a lot of people in my community, is just like word of mouth, a friend of a friend. They're like, hey, I know this girl, who loves animals. But yes, it is a growing industry, which, you take, they say like millennials, like my generation, we're not having kids. We're adopting pets. We're adopting 10 dogs at a time. So pet sitters are so important. And I'm really glad that you had honed in on that, Elizabeth. So I just wanted to kind of go back and say that. Okay. So how have you implemented pawTree naturally in your current pet business?
Okay. So for me, I always felt like it was a very fine line. Like at a meet and greet, I'm there to meet their pets. I'm there to establish a relationship. So I don't really spew on and on and on about pawTree when I first meet people. I will casually mention it that, I also have a pet nutrition and wellness business, and kind of leave it at that at the meet and greet. And then if if it's a new customer, that's what I'm referring to. So if I do a pet sit and I see any issues, if they are being a picky eater, or or if they tell me they have, high anxiety when there's fireworks or storms or something like that, then I may suggest another product if that comes up at the meet and greet. However, I don't really, like I said, I don't really push pawTree initially, but what I do is I usually I leave treats and our seasoning samples and a Bring Love Home book for them, and usually like a blank gift card, and I'll leave that on the last day of the pet sit. And a lot of times, I get customers that way, and since I'm establishing that I also have this business, a light bulb moment might come off if there's a problem down the line with their pet. They might say, huh, she mentioned she does this. Does she have something for this issue? Does she have something for that issue? And then they reach out to me, because I've planted that seed. So I'm not super, super pushy about it, but they're trusting me with their pets while they're away or while they're at work. We already have this huge level of trust as a pet sitter. And I think that naturally occurs that they're going to trust me with their pet nutrition and wellness too, if a need arises, if they see a need. So that's kind of the way I work it in naturally.
Awesome. I love it. And what about you, Elizabeth? How do you incorporate that?
Well, it's kind of funny because I agree with the fine line, but I'm very different. So my fine line kind of falls between my previous, like, pre pawTree clients and my after pawTree. I feel like people that I meet today, since pawTree going forward, that is part of who I am. So I'm very vocal about it.
Or
But my clients that I already had, I feel like there's a fine line because when they met me, it wasn't part of it. So yes, they know. Yes, many of them use me. Not all in the beginning, but many come back later. As I've had my pet sitting business for 15 years, and I've had a lot of my clients. And I don't just do pet sitting. I also do dog walking and family style boarding and daycare. So, I'm very close to a lot of my clients because of the different things I do. I probably see more than just regular pet sitting. So I had a lot of them come back too. And even some, that are like, oh, you knew all along, like when they switch to the food or, they see changes. And I'm like, yeah, but because I'm not pushy, I always find ways to work it in, and, even that, just sharing like paw trips or conference, when you're taking time off, hey, I'm going away for a pet nutrition conference, or, I got a trip because the pet nutrition company, so it's like always kind of staying front of mind. A lot of times, like if I'm doing invoices and there's something going on, it's always a PS, in my emails. So just little dribbles without, like Kristen said, without being pushy, but just always kind of dribbling it in there to keep it front of mind. But with new people, it is part of who I am. So when when I talk to people, I do say, and I specialize in pet health and wellness, and always offer it like as a complimentary service along with what I do. So, we can do a pet profile, and I like to offer samples. Usually I bring samples to the meet and greet, but so I do definitely work it in with both, the existing customers that I had before and everybody that I talk to now. So, or when I'm out walking dogs, I'm, every other person that walks by me with a dog, it's, just natural always to bring it up and get it in there. Yeah, I'm a dog walker and I specialize in pet health and wellness. And, so.
Yeah. I love that. That's awesome. Okay, so Kristen, how has recommending the pawTree products improved your pet sitting business?
Definitely, like Elizabeth was saying, it's definitely a beautiful complementary business. It fits in so easily. And that's why I said, like, I don't feel like I'm pushy because it's just a natural thing for me. I bring it up when I need to, and it's not like, do you want to buy pawTree from me? No, like I come from a level of service. Like, you have this issue, I'll help you. You want to be a proactive pet parent, I'll help you, that type of thing. So, yeah, so I just like lost train of thought with your question. Can you say the question again? I don't know if I answered it fully.
How has recommending the pawTree products improved your pet sitting business?
Yeah. So it definitely, like I said, offers, a complimentary service and a free service too, right? I'm not asking them to pay a fee to, pay a vet fee or anything like that. I'm not a vet, but can definitely offer pet nutrition and wellness advice. And like I said, so I've been in business 18 years. So I have like a deep client list, and, people that don't even use me anymore, for whatever reason. Maybe they went back to work and they don't need a dog walker anymore. But it's just word of mouth now. Like everyone in my neighborhood knows that I do this, so it's just a really nice natural fit. And I don't feel like I'm being salesy. I don't feel like, I feel like I'm coming from a level of service for sure.
Yeah, I love that so much.
Mhm.
And what about you, Elizabeth?
I guess my thought was kind of on a different plane. Yes, it's a way to add that extra layer of value and service to the customers. But for me, it gives me a little bit of peace of mind in my business too, because as a pet sitter, especially, like this time of year, you're getting requests and trying to figure out how to juggle everything in. And when it's all you do, when it's your sole means of income, you're always trying to do so much, and self-care and time off and things like that can be really hard sometimes. And I'm not married, so I don't have another income, so sometimes as pet sitters, we will just run ourselves into the ground because it's very hard. Once you have sat for an animal, it's really hard to say no, because you're like, I love the pets. I worry about who might be watching them, or, how they're going to feel when they're alone. So it gives me the ability to, to sometimes say no to new people, so I can give better service to my existing clients, so I can just take care of myself to give more for who I am serving. So I think that there's that extra layer of what it does for me, so that I can give more to my clients, both furry and their parents as well. So
Yeah, I totally agree with that too. I didn't really touch base on that part of it, but over the past year, I have actually pulled back from saying yes to everything. Like you said, you want to accept it, and help as many pets as possible because you do get attached to them. But I've definitely started saying no to new client requests. If it's uh, you know, a time that I don't want to do it. I've actually closed on holidays this year. Like, what pet sitter can say they closed on holidays? Like, I closed Christmas Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. Like, I closed on pretty much every major holiday. And my clients, they were able to figure it out for that one or two visits that I was missing. And in the past, I would have never done that in a million years. I would be
and
like,
a lot of clients are probably saying it's about time,
yeah,
right?
right.
I mean, I've even had clients tell me, how come you haven't raised your rates for a while?
Yep,
It's worth it. It's really
exactly.
interesting. Yeah. But
Yeah.
when
So,
you take
yeah. So
time
that
off, the
exactly. Time
clients
off is
work
huge for
harder.
us, right? It's huge. So to be able to take more and more time, and my family and I love to travel. It's like one of our biggest passions. So for me to be able to, and even talk about travel, like we are just, Elizabeth and I were just on the cruise to Alaska. I was, there for 9 days, and my clients had to just kind of figure it out for the 9 days. And they were like so happy for me that I earned this trip and that I've got to go away to Alaska. And, they were excited for me. So, they'll figure it out because they love you and they want you to, have a life, and they don't want you to, they don't want to have to look for someone else at this point, right? If you've been with somebody for years. Um, so yeah, so that aspect of it is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And it's really great. Because I'm thinking, so like I was on Rover at one point looking at like rates for pet sitters. And just like I thought, for holidays, they raise their prices. And
Mhm.
so, Kristen, for you to be able to say, I'm not working these days, I don't have to work holidays, I don't need the extra income, like that is so powerful. That is so
It
huge.
is.
And so I'm really happy for you. I just want to
Thank
just
you.
want to say
Me
because
too.
some people really truly rely on that extra income, especially if you're, the only one in your household, bringing in the income, or, some people just have a lot of bills. So that's huge.
Yep, definitely. It's been liberating for sure.
I can just imagine. Okay, so Kristen, what is your favorite testimonial?
My favorite testimonial, let me think about that for a second. I think my favorite testimonial would be for our chillax, which is our herbal supplement for anxiety. And it's actually my sister-in-law. She's one of my clients. Her dog had such severe anxiety, like she could not go anywhere with the dog. she was, she couldn't take him to the vet. He'd be like crying the whole time, flipping out in the car. Anytime, she left, he was doing that. Just really, really, really bad anxiety issues. And Chillax actually just did it for him. Just actually pretty much changed her life and the dog's life, because she was so stressed out with this dog. She couldn't, like I said, she couldn't even go to the vet, or she had him in the car that day on the Chillax, taking her to the groomer. And she called me. She goes, "Oh my gosh, I've been out for hours. I've been running errands with the dog in the car. Like, who is this dog? This is not my dog." And so I hear a lot of testimonials like that about our Chillax, with dogs with fireworks and thunderstorms, and dogs shaking when all the loud noises, and it's just heartbreaking, to see a dog like that. So or a cat too. But and I know that I changed her life, because she's so less stressed, and changed the dog's life for sure, definitely. So that's one of my favorites. And then my personal testimonial with my dog, which made me a true believer in pawTree. One of my dogs, I have two dogs. My older dog had pancreatitis before I started pawTree, and bout after bout of vomiting and throwing up and not eating. And the vet was having me give her all these horrible foods to get her to try to eat. And I found pawTree, and I'm telling you, within a week of changing her diet and adding our Gastro Pro Plus, she never vomited again. So whatever I had been giving her was causing it, obviously. And I didn't know any better at the time. Like I did not have a background in this before I started this business. And it's just been, like I said, again, life changing for my dog and for me, because I don't have to deal with watching her suffer anymore, and trying to figure out what is going on. Why isn't this resolving itself with everything the vet's telling me to do? Like, nothing was working. And like I said, it was like magic for me. So obviously something was not agreeing with her that we were feeding her, or so those are my two favorites, I guess.
Yeah, those are both really amazing testimonials. I really appreciate you sharing those.
Sure.
Elizabeth, what is your favorite testimonial?
This is probably one of my least favorite questions, because there's so many. It's hard to, it's like in all the different products. Like, I mean, actually, Kara, I think Kristen, her testimony is one of my favorites, because of the struggle that people go through with Western medicine, to no avail, and if anything, sometimes making issues worse because of all the pharmaceuticals, just fighting symptoms and not the root cause. And sometimes things actually get worse because it suppresses the immune system. But I would say, like, just some of my earlier ones that really excited me when our allergy support first came out. I had a client with a lab, or a customer. It wasn't a testing client. It was actually another vendor at an event that had a lab that was very allergic. So she tried the allergy support. And after about, I think it was about a week, she calls me and she says, "Don't ever let me run out of this stuff." And I'm thinking, it's been a week, like, no way, right? Like, it's too soon. I mean, I know whole food supplements. I've already believed in it. I was already very passionate about holistic care, and that's the way I take care of my pets. But I was like, yeah, a week, and she's like, "No, seriously, it was the first full night's sleep I got, because there was no scratching on the bed from this, loud scratching." So I thought that was pretty a pretty good one. And then the gastro, I had one gal that called me, and kind of the same thing. And she was like, "Thank you so much. The paint isn't peeling off the walls anymore. And, we're not constantly having to leave the room because of their gassy dog." So, I mean, they're just kind of some fun ones, but I mean, it goes on and on. I've had similar for Aches Away, getting that call of saying, "Thank you so much. It's only been a couple weeks, but Fifi actually got up and met my mom at the door. She hasn't even really wanted to get out of her bed for a while. And, she came to the door when we got home," or, things like that. And just, I mean, I feel like I can just go on for almost every product that we have, that I've had a testimony that I just, like, oh, that's why I do it.
Right. Yeah, I feel like, as a pet pro, we all kind of have something that just kind of
Mhm.
shines a light, which is great.
Yep.
Awesome. I love that so much. Um, okay, Kristen, how has pawTree helped you financially?
As I mentioned before, the whole, being shut down during COVID was huge for me with having this extra money come in. But now, I have a nice, as I said, I've been doing this 2.5 years. I have a, pretty large team, and to be able to just have that money coming in every month has been huge. I have two children. I have three kids, but I have two in college at the same time. So it's enough money for me to, help pay their tuition, pay both of their rents on their houses at school, and then some. So, and then, as I said before, we like to travel. So our vacations are getting more frequent, a little more expensive. I have some extra, money to be throwing towards that, which has been great. So financially, it's been a huge help at like the perfect time, as I said, with having two in college and one more on the way in a few years into college. So it's been a huge blessing for us for sure.
Yeah, and especially with inflation right now and
Mhm.
everything else. So that's
Yep.
awesome. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Elizabeth, how has pawTree helped you financially?
You know, again, so many ways. I wasn't spending my pottery money, so I considered it. It's my what if fund. So what if what if for some reason I couldn't walk dogs for a minute, or what if there was a pandemic? Of course, the one we never even thought of. What if the industry tanked? Because there was no way that pet sitting was ever going away, right?
Mhm.
So all those, what ifs for me, that was just that blanket of security. But one of the biggest things that I guess really just popped in my mind is with previous pets in my life, when I was, a little bit younger years ago, pets got old, pets got sick, and I had to make medical decisions for them, their care decisions based on finances. It always played a part. It wasn't what I wanted to do for them, it was what I could afford to do for them. And when I had actually lost my last dog right before I started pawTree, and I already did a lot for him, but sometimes I did think financially. When my last cat entered his end of life, which was supposed to be a week according to Western medicine, but it was 2 years and 2 months according to the way I cared for him. Um, I was able to I was just like, keep my credit card on file. Yes, yes, yes. Like I never had to even consider finances when I was giving him his quality of death, right? When I was giving him that end of life care, I could do whatever I wanted without a blink of an eye. I didn't even care. Now, if I had to go to the doctor, I'd still be like, what, a $75 copay? But for my cat, I'd be whatever you want, whatever
Exactly.
is going to make his quality of life better or sustainable, I did. And so I can't, I mean, to me, there's nothing that beats that. Like there's nothing that beats that, having been in a position where I couldn't do it.
Yep.
So
Yeah, and I'm glad that you actually brought that up, Elizabeth, because I even see it just on Facebook, social media, people are like, I had to put my dog down because I couldn't afford the surgery, or I had to put my cat down because, I couldn't afford the procedure, or I couldn't afford the care. And it happens so often because I feel like, as humans, we just automatically go ahead, we get medical insurance, for the just in cases, but a lot of people don't get pet insurance or think about pet insurance. I used to be one of those people. I was like, oh, my pet doesn't need insurance. And then I started to see like costs rise and I'm like, well, maybe I should. And so, but same thing. I mean, if something ever, heaven forbid, happened to my dog, who's my life, I wouldn't even think twice. I would do the same thing. Keep my card on file. Yes, yes, yes. Do what you need to do, because essentially she's my child. And I feel like a lot of pet parents feel that way about their pets. So it's very, very common, and it really breaks my heart. I can't tell you how many GoFundMe
I,
things there are on the internet. People are like, I'm trying to raise, I just saw one recently. This woman was trying to raise $25,000 for her Great Dane.
Mm.
And it broke my heart. It really did. And last I knew, she was $2,500 away, and
Wow.
I'm not even sure if she was able to save her dog yet. I got to go back and find out. But how heartbreaking is that? I mean, and not everybody has 25 grand to pull out. So,
Right.
for sure. Yeah. So we get it as pet parents, and
Yes.
hopefully we never have to be in a situation like that. But I know other people are.
Mhm.
Okay, so Kristen, our last question: what would you tell other pet sitters who are thinking about joining pawTree?
Do it. Like, don't even hesitate. Don't take a year like I did to figure it out. No, honestly, like with the deal that we have now, we have very low enrollment right now fee. Can I say what it is on here? I don't know if I
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean,
Okay, we have dollar enrollment right now. So, and that's what it was when I joined, just joined for $1. And what do you have to lose? In other words, right? It's just $1. You can try it for 3 months to see if it's the right fit for you, to see if it fits in naturally with your business. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that it does. And if it doesn't, you can walk away after those 3 months. So nothing lost, nothing gained. But you will love the community. Just the friendships I've made, the camaraderie, the bouncing ideas off of each other, to help different pets is incredible. Such a helping, giving community. And, I just think you would be super happy here if you're obviously a pet person, a pet lover, if you're a pet sitter. And I just think it fits in so naturally and so easily. And it really, if you are selling to your customers, it doesn't take, a ton of extra time either. It's not something you have to pour hours and hours and hours and hours every day over. If you're, just selling to your customers, it will come naturally in those conversations. So that's my advice. Do it. Don't
yes.
hesitate.
I love that. Yes. And just because this is going to be recorded and posted, just know that the dollar deal is for June of 2022 only.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to add that piece
Good
in.
idea.
And Elizabeth, what would you tell other pet sitters who are thinking about joining?
What she said. I mean, that was pretty much it. I mean, really, yeah. I mean, it's people you're already talking to. It's just another layer of being able to help pets live their best lives. It's a way to, like, for me, create that what if fund, or, maybe it's just a matter of being in that position where it's your sole income, and you just need to take a weekend off every now and then. Whatever it is, it just makes sense. And like Kristen said, you give it a try. And if it's not for you, no harm, no foul, but just give it a go, because it's fun, it's profitable, it's rewarding. I mean, it's
So many things.
so many things. Like, why not? That's my question. Like, why wouldn't you? Why not?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we can all remember times when we've helped that, one pet that was suffering, that one person that was suffering because of their pet, like the itching from, or the anxiety, or when they have bad gas. And when we get those messages like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. How good does that feel? I mean, for real. It's like the best feeling in the world.
Yep.
So,
I was saying, I was going to add one more thing, and just as quick as I was going to say it, it went out. Oh, well, no, I was going to say time. That wasn't it. Darn it. Sorry. Went out.
that's okay. Okay, well, it is a little past 7, so I'm going to end the live. For all of those watching live, thank you so much for joining us here. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, please get with the person who invited you to the live. And I hope you guys have a great night.
Bye.
Thanks, Laura. Good night, everybody.
Good night.